groovy.
Hey folks! This round of Conquest on Dawnbreaker finds me squatted up with Sid and Asiatic, along with a random that we picked up. You'll hear said random in in-game VoIP a couple of times. It sounds like he hasn't quite made it to maturity yet. Back in the old days of the clan, we had a Ventrilo server that we used for our Soldier of Fortune 2 games, and folks over the age of 18 were invited to join us there. If a younger person joined, one of the founders of the clan would invariably say, "It sounds like his haven't dropped yet." I think the same thing applies to our random. In any event, it's been a couple of weeks since my last video. The gaming and editing rig I built for myself a month or two ago has caused me a lot of grief. And I compounded that by trying to install Windows 10 and then trying to outsmart it. I'll explain what I mean by all that while you watch me running around on Dawnbreaker trying to cat flags and shoot people. A couple of months ago, I decided to replace my perfectly working Asus X79 based system, which had an Intel 4930K processor on it. The reason was that I had decided to combine my gaming rig, which is a Windows box, with my editing rig, which was a Mac Pro cylinder. Why? Simple, really. Performance. I edit in Premiere Pro, and it is far more optimized to run on Windows than it is on a Mac. Further, as much as I love Mac hardware and the operating system, Apple doesn't build exceptionally fast workstation class machines using consumer-level CPUs that can be overclocked. Their Mac Pros are quite nice, but they're built with Xeon processors which can't be pushed. Their clocks are locked, and even if they weren't, Apple would in no way, shape, or form allow you to overclock the processor. They know better than you do. The basic summary of that is, I sold the Mac Pro cylinder, got quite a bit of money for it, and then built a brand new X99 based system. It's got an Asus X99 Deluxe U3.1 board, an Intel 5960X CPU, 64 gigabytes of RAM, and an M2 main drive for the apps and OS, along with 2 Titan X video cards. Further, I'm liquid cooling the CPU and the 2 GPUs, and I'm overclocking the 5960X to 4.3 GHz. That's where some of my trouble began, I think. The UEFI that Asus uses is provided by American Megatrends. It's just an unreliable piece of trash as far as UEFI are concerned. During the OS installs, it can sometimes take me 3 to 4 reboots just to get the friggin' thing to read the USB drive and boot properly from it. Further, trusting it to properly overclock these CPUs seems to be a bit of a gamble. From time to time, it'll just decide to reset the settings I've spent lots of time trying to figure out. And I've had to spend a lot of time in that UEFI as well. As you likely know, overclocking a CPU isn't a simple select this setting and go type of thing. It takes experimentation and a lot of reboots. What I found while running Windows 8.1 was that I could push the CPU to 4.3 GHz with a 1.3 core voltage and keep it stable. Any faster than that, and I would invariably get system crashes while encoding video. Battlefield 4 certainly doesn't push the CPU hard enough for that, but Premiere Pro does. Now, Intel doesn't guarantee any sort of overclocking results with their X chips. They just provide a completely unlocked chip. The average overclock for the 5960X seems to be 4.5 GHz, so I just got one of the duds. Oh well. Over the course of the next couple of months, I waited for Windows 10 to release, and then for the drivers I'd needed to work properly on it. My SoundBlaster ZxR card's drivers weren't immediately available from Creative. They were released a few weeks after Windows 10 dropped. NVidia had some challenges with SLI-based systems running out of VRAM. The way Windows treats SLI cards is different than how it used to. In previous versions of Windows, an SLI system only had whatever VRAM was available on one card. even if you had 3 or 4 cards SLI'd together, Windows would only see one card's worth of VRAM. In Windows 10, Windows sees all of the VRAM. I suspect that kind of threw NVIDIA for a loop, but they fixed it. Corsair, the makers of my CPU cooler, had to update their Corsair Link software to work properly with Windows 10 as well. So I waited. My system was running Windows 8.1 Home. My free upgrade to Windows 10 would be to the Home Edition as well, which has raised the hackles of the entire internet due to its automatic updates and whatnot. Fortunately, I also have an older Windows 7 Pro DVD, and it's not currently installed in any of my systems. So my plan, was to format my C: drive and downgrade my 8.1 system to Windows 7 Pro. I had already made my Windows 10 USB boot stick, so I intended to then upgrade Windows 7 Pro to Win 10 Pro. Once the upgrade was completed and the system registered itself with Microsoft, I'd format C again and reinstall Windows 7 Pro fresh. I hate OS upgrades and I won't rely on them. They never, ever work right. Always, always, always format your drive and reinstall fresh. Well, as they say, the best laid plans of mice and men. That plan failed epically. The M2 drive I have as my C drive wasn't recognized by Windows 7. In fact, nothing on my system was. The motherboard is just too new for Windows 7. So strike one for Jason. I decided to give up and buy a copy of Windows 10 Pro directly from Microsoft. Once I did, I attempted to install it via my USB stick. That failed. Repeatedly. Over and over again, the installer would start and then blue screen out with a machine check exception error. I was seething. I literally had no idea what was wrong and went flipping through every setting in the aforementioned garbage UEFI. I finally did two things. First, I reloaded the UEFI from Flash. It was the same version, but I was getting desperate. Second, I downclocked the CPU back to its stock settings. After completing those two things, I installed and registered Windows 10 Pro successfully. After getting my OS, Adobe apps, and Battlefield all installed, I went back into the BIOS, or UEFI, and overclocked the CPU. It's been running fine since. But then I got a little daring and tried to outsmart Windows. Bad move. There's a hidden directory in your home directory called AppData, APPDATA. This is an annoyance in my opinion. It's in this directory that a lot of app-specific settings are stored. You can't move it, you can't copy it entirely, you can't even see everything that's in it, even with an administrator's command window. But that didn't stop me. I despise the idea of my user directory being on the C drive. I consider the C drive expendable and something that can be formatted at any time. So I tried moving my home directory to another one of the disks on my system and using Windows soft link mechanism to make it look like my directory were still in C:\users. Well, that sort of worked. Until I rebooted one day and I couldn't open the start menu, or perform any searches, or really do much of anything. To rectify this little snafu, I deleted my user account and then recreated it from scratch. The home directory is still there in C:\users, which I despise. But to help me with complete system formats, I installed some simple backup software that dumps my entire directory to a network disk every night at 3 a.m., including that annoying AppData directory. So there we have it. My system is back up and running the way I want it to, and it's running Windows 10 Pro. Is Win 10 Pro faster than Win 8 from a gaming perspective? I can't really tell. Battlefield, which is the only game I play, really wasn't taxing my system terribly. Win 10 did solve one of my problems with the latest Premiere Pro release. It, combined with the latest creative drivers for my SoundBlaster card, seems to have fixed an issue where Premiere would become unresponsive to any keyboard or mouse input when I Alt-tabbed out of it and then Alt-tabbed back into it. The Adobe engineers tracked that down to a conflict with the older SoundBlaster drivers, but Creative hasn't updated them in over a year. Under Windows 10, that problem is gone. I hope you've enjoyed this little tale of my foibles. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next time.
Objective Bravo. 敌军的直升飞机被我看到了，我要你保护这个目标。
What happened to that tank?
I don't know. I think our tank destroyed him.
Nice.
车坏掉了，想我来维修吗？ 你们再来攻击这个目标，我们必须要攻击这个目标。I have eyes on the enemy hostile sniper located to the north.
Got him.
Thank you. LAV?
Listen up. We've just neutralized objective.
From the parking garage?
Yep.
We've just taken control of objective Alpha.
Ow. Oh, yeah. Yikes. Oh, I'm gonna die. I'm dead. Same guy in the parking garage. Oh, what a beautiful spawn beacon. Sid, you're my hero.
Trump him.
Ow. Sniper. And tank. Nicely done.
Good game. Gonna go grab some dinner. Maybe we'll see you guys later.
Alrighty, I'll be here.
I gotta go feed the kids. Good game, guys. I'll be back in a bit.
Okay.